everybody, and welcome! My name is Ursa and this is Civilization 7. And we are about to undertake the first full game of Civilization 7 on the channel. This is it. We're ready to go. I have been waiting literally months, if not years, to do this with you. I think we should just dive into it. Now, I've been racking my brains with the horrible decision of who to play with you all. There are so many leaders, none of whom are now under embargo, and I can show you. Not to, name any names at all. But I was thinking for our first game together in Civ 7, we could play somebody who I think is going to be a fantastic introduction to the game for a lot of people picking this game up soon. There are so many ways to play this game. There are so many different legacy paths. There are so many different ways to achieve victory. So today we are going to go for a growth science turtley build. And the man to lead us is Confucius. Confucius gets 25% extra growth rate in all of his cities. So your cities grow much quicker than normal, and specialists have 2 extra science. This is an incredibly versatile ability that pumps you through the tech tree very quickly, especially in the early game. Now we get to pick one of 2 mementos. There are lots and lots and lots of them ready to unlock, some with crazy abilities, but they are all locked behind experience that you need to play with the leaders to get. And as you can see, this game is new to me as well. I haven't unlocked many, so we're going to pick some fun choices from what we have. Firstly, we're going to take Brush and Scroll. This memento gives me 5% extra growth rate in cities for every specialist in that city, up to a maximum of 25%. This will stack with the 25% Confucius gives us, giving us a grand total of 50% growth rate. Huge. To keep the game pretty simple as well, we're also going to start with the Anti-Kifrera mechanism. This just gives me +1 scientific attribute point. Very good if you're going to be playing sciencey like I am. Next, we're going to pick our civilization, and today we're going to start with Confucius's natural antiquity choice, Han China. We'll talk about these bonuses all in a little bit, but in terms of the game setup, we're cranking this all the way up to deity difficulty because, you know, we're hardcore here. We're going to leave it on standard, continents plus. I'm going to up to a standard size map for now. I have been told reliably that bigger maps will become available later, and all of the other settings are going to be left alone for now. Here is the seed if you want to play this exact game, but you won't need this because, as per usual, you should come along to my Discord. Links in every video I ever put up, because I am going to be keeping, as usual, all of the save files for every game of Civ 7 I ever play on the channel in there, so you can literally copy and paste the save file, pop it onto your PC, and play along on the exact same game. Oh, I'm so excited. Are you excited? I'm excited. Let's get cracking. It's turn 1, and we have spawned into the middle of what seems to be quite a nice looking grassland. I would recommend always turning the yields on because it will help to show you a little bit, but there are a few things that take my attention immediately. Firstly, if we put on the settler lens, we'll see we have fresh water. What does fresh water do? It gives you happiness. It's not really explained in great detail, but this is what you got to remember. If you settle off of fresh water, you won't get as much happiness as if you settle on it. There are also a few resources. We have a source of horse, which gives an empire-wide bonus to cavalry units. The more horse you collect, the stronger your cavalry units will be. We have cotton, which is a very versatile early game resource that increases the production and the food of your settlement by 2. It's really good, actually. I think resources like this in the very early game are going to be very sought after. We have some wine. 2 extra happiness in the capital doesn't seem like a huge amount, and it's not, but 10% culture when in a celebration, well, that is a global effect. If you get yourself merry with 3 or 4 sources of wine like your standard Frenchman, that very quickly becomes 30 to 40% extra culture in a celebration. It's a huge bonus. Wine is a very valuable resource, and we also have some camels. Camels increase the number of resources that can be assigned to a city by 2. Use these to create endless resource loops. They're amazing. So we know what resources we've got. There's nothing about this start that really is putting me off. I'm in range of all of the stuff. We have fresh water. We're going to settle in place, and here is the capital. Next, we have the science point that we can allocate. At the beginning, it's not going to give us a huge amount. We start with 10 science per per turn, and we can get 1 science per age on the palace. Okay, so it's 10% extra science. It's not a huge amount. What we're going to be looking is rushing down this science tree as soon as we can to get a few things. Firstly, we want 25% science towards tech masteries. Tech masteries are often very good to get, and this makes them even better. Then we want science in settlements for every resource assigned to them. This stacks up really quickly. If you're going for a science build, this is something you need very, very fast. And then we're going to get a couple of ones like science on specialists, science per age on towns, and science for every alliance. Ideally, 6 or 7 scientific attribute points would do us very lovely. Now, you'll have noticed from watching a lot of people's videos that in Civ 7, you no longer start with a unit other than your settler, or your founder, I should say. Instead, the first scout or warrior you make is essentially 3, so you can choose. Do I want a warrior or do I want a scout? I would always recommend going scout. Nothing's really changed in Civ. Scouts are even better than they've ever been because you can now use them to look around the map quite nicely. So I'm going to move you out into the random tile, and then I'm going to press this button, search. A scout naturally has a vision of 2 tiles, but if I press search, it goes to 3 plus 1. It also then reveals all discoveries within twice this range. What do I mean by discovery? I mean stuff like this: a cave, a cairn, what is this one? A luxurious encampment, a wreckage. These are all effectively the tribal villages of Civ 7. So these are where I want to beeline. So we're going to send our scout up in this direction and send a second. Yep, that's right. We're going to make a second. The 2 scout start. It has not gone out of fashion. We're going to send them to the cairn and to the cave. Now, when I say I'm going to play sciencey in the Antiquity Age, what do I mean by that? Well, we're going to be following the science legacy path, and there are a bunch of quests we need to do. In order to win this legacy path in the Antiquity Age, we need to display 10 codices in my empire, but you can ignore that, because if we track the progress, there are some quests we need to do first. The first one gets me to research writing, and that's it. So it kind of just tells you what you need to do. In order to get writing, you have to go through pottery. Potteries are quite good because they give food on plantations, and it also gives me the brickyard, which gives me a little bit of production later. I don't think there's any harm in this. Looking at the tiles, I'm likely to improve at the beginning. This farm would give me 2 food, which is very nice, but I want to get the plantation and the plantation. So yeah, this is a really decent start for me. I think pottery will work nicely. 1, 2, 3 immediately workable tiles will all be improved, and then I can work on animal husbandry later for the source of horse and the camels. In Civ 7, movement works a little bit differently. Every unit has movement, but there is such a thing as rough terrain. You can normally see it either because it's described like that in the tile, this is called rough tundra, or because there's some sort of thing that blocks your movement, like marsh or a river. Movement is very much like Civ 5. You can move as many tiles as you want, but as soon as you enter rough terrain, it immediately lowers your movement. However, every tile is still 1 movement, so you can always jump into rough terrain on the last movement of your unit. Going into an encampment will also end my turn, so I know that I'm going to go 1, 2, 1. I don't want to waste the movement. I will creep forward 1 tile, and then I might as well use my search again just because I can. Lots of tundra above me. That's good. That means, okay, we can see the north of the map. We can see it above us. That's fine. You can actually see the entire map just by scrolling out. Very big map we're running with today. And instead of going to 2 population, you'll note we're at 3. Let's discuss our civilizations. We've already discussed Confucius a little bit. 25% growth rate in cities and 2 science in specialists. That's all very well and good, but the Han Empire also does a few things. The capital and new towns gain an additional population with their first growth event. That's what's happened here. We've gained our first population, so now we gain a bonus one. It's just an extra pop whenever you start out a town. Very good for getting these things rocking quickly. Weiyang Palace is our associated wonder, which we will unlock earlier via the special Han civic tree, which we can unlock once we've got chiefdom. We'll build it faster and we'll unlock it earlier. The Chukunu, it has a zone of control and a higher defense strength than regular crossbows, and it has +5 attack if you're attacking someone right next to it. So think of them as regular ranged units, but they have bulky defense and they're really good at being in the front line. We have a unique great person. There's a whole bunch of them we can get, but we can only start getting them once we have 10 population in a city, and then we can start building the Great Wall. We'll talk about that a little bit as we go. Remember with the mementos, by the way, we can actually change these as we go every era, so we don't need to pick the same thing over and over. Now, yields can be a very confusing thing if you have yet to really get your head head around Civ 7. The yields on the map are the exact yields you would get if you improved that tile. So whereas in previous editions of Civ, if I put a farm on a tile, you'll notice the food on that tile going up. That's not how it works anymore. What you see is what you get. 2 food and 1 happiness is what I would get if that tile was improved, and I only get the yields of improved tiles. Right now, in my city, the only improved tile is the city center because it's got the palace on it. So because of that, the yields here, 5 food, production, happiness, and 1 science, that is all of the yield I have. None of these tiles around me, even though I can see the yields, are actually being worked. In order to gain those yields, I need to get the tile. So for instance, if I were to put a farm down, I will boost my city by 2 food and 1 happiness, and I'll also culture bomb around it. So we'll do that to start with. There you go. You notice the yield didn't change, not at all. But now you can see if I go into the city, 7 food, 5 from this tile, 2 from this tile, 6 happiness, there's 5 from this one, 1 from this. If I were to build a granary in my city, this would give me +1 food on all farms, pastures, and plantations. So I would notice not only this tile, but also this tile would have an extra food on it. The yields are baked into the tiles. The game does all of the calculation for you now before you improve it. What you see is what you get. It's also worth pointing out that every single upgrade in the game, or every rural district you can get, such as plantations, camps, pastures, mines, clay pits, whatever they are all unlocked from the start of the game. They just don't give you any bonus yield. You have to unlock the yield in the early game techs. So you start with +1 food on farms from agriculture, but plantations have no yields associated with them until I get pottery. Clay pits is also from pottery. Animal husbandry gives you pastures, camps, and woodcutters. Sailing gives you the fishing boats. Masonry is the mines and the quarries, so on and so forth. And as we go later through the game, you begin to unlock more and more different yields. But now, as discussed before, we're going to get the cotton. This will give me an extra gold and an extra food. So you can now see that we have 3 extra. Well, that's because the game is clever enough to have actually put the cotton into my settlements. I'm getting another 2 food and 2 production. So that tile is effectively worth 3 food, 2 production, 1 gold. A giga tile if ever I've seen one. We have a lovely, lovely city. So all in all, Chang'an is doing pretty nicely. All of these goodie huts around the map come with a choice. Now you get 2 options that you can choose instead of just getting a set bonus. They also come with a little bit of story, which is very sweet. This one is asking if I want to learn how to make some pottery or just exploit the people. If I was to go for the gold, potentially I could look to purchase in the granary or another early game building nice and quick, or even buy the settler. However, the science would let me push through pottery quicker. I think I would rather have the economy of the city growing as quickly as possible, so I'm going to take the gold for now. Let's build up to that granary as fast as we can. You can see here, if I was to move into the river, I'd end my turn. The marsh is 1 tile further away. There's no sense using search right now because I can get to this wreckage in 2 turns if I just move normally. So here we'll go. Chang'an has reached its 4th population. I think we're now going to gain the wine. A little bit of extra happiness helps my global happiness, which is nice. Happiness is a funny mechanic in Civ 7. Here's what you need to know. If a city goes into negative happiness, you lose 2% of every yield for every happiness below 0. So if I was on -10 happiness, I would have -20% yields. There is no benefit to having happiness above, however. There's no yield bonus from being happy. What happens is any positive happiness goes up to the top on my global happiness, and this works towards my next celebration. The more happiness you have, the quicker you get into a celebration. This is effectively a Civ 5 golden age. When we unlock our first one, we get to pick what we want it to do. So getting a little bit of happiness means that we'll get our celebration a little quicker, but also I like the idea of getting the wine because when I am in a celebration, I would gain extra culture. Nothing wrong with that at all. Plus, these 2 plantations are going to get +1 food as soon as I've unlocked pottery as well. So that's really nice. And here's my scout. I have some lovely cairns to go and visit, so you make your way in this direction. Looks like there is some coast just above me. I really do want to be on the coast as much as possible. If I could put a dock down on that tile, that would allow my capital access to the sea. The horse is also in this direction, so I'm going to start building the granary. Remember, buildings also go on the map. Every tile can have up to 2. Any building with a tile down becomes an urban district as opposed to a rural district as before. Now, you can always choose to replace your urban tiles, which lets you reallocate the population, which is a very handy way of just moving things around. But for now, these lands are kind of featureless. I could see this area being really, really good for urban districts later into the game, whereas this looks a little bit more like fertile land. So we're going to put the granary down on the river in this direction. Start building towards the horse, but also towards the coast. That granary would give me 1, 2, 3 extra food. And you can actually tell because the game works it out for you. Do you see this? The whole granary gives +1 food and then also +1 food to all farms, pastures, and plantations. Hey presto, it tells you +4. Amazing. The game works it out for you. What you see is what you get. Lovely, lovely stuff. This time we found a burnt down beautiful garden. Do we want to help rebuild it, or do we want to just study it? I could take the happiness. That would get me to a celebration quicker, but I would prefer getting the science because that will slam me very quickly into pottery. In fact, it even finishes it. So now 2 plantations, look at that, have an extra food on them. Beautiful. Very good indeed. Let's beeline straight to writing. Quicker I get the library down, the faster we can start teching through the tree. We want to beeline currency on a science playthrough as fast as we can because that specialist limit you see unlocking at the bottom, that will let us put specialists down, and that is the whole jam of Confucius. So the more science we can get, the quicker we can get it, the better. As you go through the game, keep an eye out for stuff like this, gold, and also silver. These are possibly 2 of the best resources in the entire game. Gold lets you purchase buildings with 20% extra gold. It basically makes every building cheaper in your empire. It's huge. Silver does the same thing, but towards units. If you can get 3 or 4 stacks of gold and silver, things become very cheap and you snowball very quickly. They are a huge priority for settling. Massive priority for settling. So that is the coast. Looks like there's nobody directly above us, which means hopefully we have a small amount of uncompeted land. The deity AI is incredibly tough, and it will likely give me quite the headache as we go through, so I'm hoping it won't be too bad. We found a beautiful sacred place that'll either give us happiness and culture or influence. I need 160 happiness to hit the next celebration, so it's not a very big boost, but it would take half of the time of chiefdom out. However, influence is an incredibly useful resource at the beginning of the game. When I meet somebody, I'll be able to trade it for huge yield boosts, so we're gonna take the influence. All we need to do is find someone, which we will do very soon. Don't you worry about that. They will appear. I'm getting very lucky with the resources in this direction, although that is Babylon, a city-state. Maybe we will use our early game influence on Babylon instead. We have our first narrative event. These are all based on Confucius because I've chosen him as my leader, and we can either take an option that means that I have to train 2 settlers and the reward for that is some culture, or build 2 libraries. The reward for that is science. We can just ignore it and take a warrior. I always like going for the quest events because I just like progressing the narrative. It's really fun, and I think 2 settlers I'm going to do way before 2 libraries, so we'll go for this as the option. I must share compassion with the world. That sounds like how I play Civ. I'm so compassionate. You all know that I'm so compassionate, right? Oh, lovely. What a nice guy. I'm going to work towards this goal. This is hugely important for me. It's more important than the actual yields of the tiles. And don't forget, I can always replace those tiles later. So we're going to put down this 2 food, 1 production clay pit. If you're wondering, how do I know what is put down on a tile? There's a little picture that tells you, but also on the left of the screen, add improvement. Picking this tile will give you a clay pit. Just gives you a little hint as to what you're doing. Extra food, extra production, helps me put down the granary faster, helps me get the population. And now we've hit population 5. Hey presto, settlers. Once this granary is done, we want to be putting 2 settlers onto the map as fast as possible. We have a settlement limit of 3. Any settlement limit you're not using is settlement limit, well, you're losing. It's economic benefit. You want as many of these as you can. Get them down. So we're going to be settling here, there, and everywhere. Babylon. Ah, the independent peoples. These act both as city-states and barbarians. They all start with a varying degree of niceness or hostility towards you. If you see a red border around them, that means they're hostile and they are acting as barbarians. If they are sort of this yellowy white color, you're in luck. And actually, this is a scientific independent people as well. So that's a really good role for me. They're friendly and they are also scientific. So what I'm going to do is save up my influence. I need 170 of it, which I can do in 3 or 4 turns, and I can start to befriend them. By doing this, I will convert them from an independent people into a a city-state that I have suzerainship of. I can then pick an ability for them and they will serve me forevermore. Huge amount of land to my north. Really good land. There's some more cotton up here. Salt is good for producing more units. There's a couple of sea resources that are okay. Nothing really very special. It's not the best land. I think I would rather claim the gold and the silver around me as a priority. Just remember, independent peoples do block your settling. So you have to just make sure you keep that in mind. Cities will basically be fleshed out and working all of the tiles within a 3-tile radius. So I would strongly advise in Civ 7 settling a little bit further away. If you're going to keep small towns, they can be a bit bunched together, but otherwise kind of kick them away. You don't want to settle too close to yourself. We'll keep that in mind as we get our first settler out. This is an enemy scout. It's not a major AI. This is another independent people. This one is Akmonia, but you see the red border? These ones are hostile. This is a barbarian. Don't worry about scouts. In Civ 7, scouts have no attack. They are only defensive units. You need to keep an eye out for other things, like warriors. Warriors are more of a problem. The fact they're there is slightly worrying. We'll come to that later. We'll figure out what to do with that in a bit. The cave has a pack of wolves, and I can spend 50 gold to greatly improve my relationship with Babylon. I was going to convert them anyway, so this is really good. 50 gold is not much. Or I can get some happiness. Nah, I will spend the gold, and I will give them some influence. Now, it's not going to tell me what that influence is like until I start boosting it, but I can do that next turn. In fact, it was really good. They're close to having me as a suzerain because they've given me the gift. 25 science. Nice. Watch the tiles. 1, 2, 3. These will all now have extra food. You can also see the food has boosted with all the tiles. The granary would improve. Huge amount of extra food. My population also went up. Now, this is something that can be a little confusing. The population of a settlement is all of the improvements added together with the city center, added together with every complete building. So the granary actually increased my population by 1. However, it's worth bearing in mind that the food that you need to gain a population is not affected by the amount of population that you add to a settlement via buildings. So there's no optimization between going, oh, actually, I'm on population 4, but if I use all of this food and get to population 6 and then put the building in, I'll grow faster. It doesn't work like that. We effectively have 2 different sources of population, one from buildings and one from rural districts. They act totally independent. Now I can get a brickyard, which gives me a little bit of extra production on the clay pits and then +1 for itself. And if I complete this quarter, I'll actually gain some science and culture from an adjacency with my city center, which is quite good, but I'm going to get the settler out first. Settlers do not consume population in Civ 7, so there's no harm in building them. Might as well just get them out as fast as I can. Chiefdom unlocked, which now means I can put my first social policy in. 2 culture in the palace or 1 production and science in the palace. I'm going to go for the production and science because I want that settler just a little faster. And we're now going to unlock mysticism to get my pantheon as soon as possible. Also going to choose my government. This decides what happens when I go into a celebration. Now, I am all about science, but I'm also all about growth rate. I want my cities to have maximum population possible to have as many specialists as possible. So in this early stage of the game, rather than going for despotism, which would give me 20% extra science, I'm going to go for oligarchy for 20% extra food. Later in the game, I will switch to have more of a science or culture focus. Right now, when I'm in a celebration, growing a city faster is really good. Ah, another goodie hut. Lovely. Double iron below me as well. Iron increases the infantry unit strength by +1. So both of these is a good +2 bonus. That's very, very handy in case I need to defend myself in a war. This is a navigable river. Move a unit onto it and it will act like an embarked unit and sail up and down it very quickly. They are a pain to cross in the early stages of the game. Some civilizations really want to be settling on top of these things. They get huge bonuses. I don't. Doesn't really matter for me, but still, good to know it's there. I can also now spend my influence on Babylon. I could have done that last turn. I forgot. 170. I think it's worth it. We want to become suzerain of them as soon as possible. And you can see, look at that. We'd almost suzerained them already. We're at 50 out of 60 just from that quest. If someone is hostile, they start at 0 out of 60. If they're friendly, they start at 30. Once you get to 3/4, they give you a gift. That was the little science we saw earlier. So 5 turns and we will become their suzerain. Lovely. I found a new continent. There's normally at least 2 on your starting landmass. We started on Atlantica, and this is Kalahara, a dilapidated winery. Either I can claim 75 gold or just have 15 production. 15 production is about 2 turns off the settler. It's not a huge amount. The gold is quite a few turns worth of gold, and it actually will help me to put down the library as soon as possible. So we're going to claim the wine rather than tearing it down. Another scout. Oh, that's a Babylonian scout. I thought I found some someone new for a second there. Alas. More silver at the other side of this navigable river. Now, I was thinking of settling up here to work the cotton, another good bonus resource, but also this silver really quickly. But I'm thinking this land is kind of safe and protected behind me. We're using our own capital as a bit of a buffer. So I'm going to cross the river and we're going to go and settle down here to start with. Let's go and claim this silver. Purchasing units cheaper is really quite handy. This isn't a very helpful tile. This is only one production on this rough desert. I don't have a tech for mining just yet, but that doesn't matter. Not at all. We'll replace that tile eventually. I want to get over to the gold as soon as possible. Just trust me when I say that gold is worth it. Caithness, another independent power. This one's hostile as well, but you can see we've now got 1, 2, 3 gutty huts we found. This warrior will kill my scout, and it'll kill it badly. So we need to just keep it a little protected. Make sure we're running away. We should be fine. Just stay aware of this, because often if they see you, they'll just start charging you, and that's never nice. One settler is now down. You can see the brickyard would actually give me more production because this mine, well, it is a mine. It would help, but I would rather have the gold first. So we're going to go for the second settler. It'll actually give me a bit of culture from my current quest. But you can see the settler now has 3 movement, and you can't steal settlers from other people. It's not possible. No settler stealing anymore. I know, how boring. But settlers now have a defense and health. So if you attack them, they don't immediately die, which is quite handy. You can actually move them around the map unescorted now. It's not sensible. You really shouldn't do it, but you can. I think I'm going to settle on the coast on the navigable river. So we're going to kind of settle there. I'm in range of the silver. There's another independent nation down here. Shomron. Hostile again. This is not good. Never mind. And this is interesting. I can create a horse resource on this tile or take a little bit of food for my capital. It's not a lot of food, and I'm going to work this tile anyway. So yeah, let's create a horse on that tile. Look at that. Handy. Better cavalry. Never say no to better cavalry. Aha. That might complicate things a little bit. So there is an independent nation, Akmonia, on that tile. They're hostile. We'll have to keep an eye on them, but it means that we can't settle exactly where I was going to. It's going to put it right on that tile. No matter, we'll move one tile back. We'll put it on this one instead. Babylon is now suzerain. They seem to have suffered a bit of a flood. Never mind. Now we get to pick the bonus. We can either pick up a codex, which is actually what we need to do for our victory condition, which is handy. We can get a unique improvement that gets put on the map that has a little bit of science and happiness. We can get 1 science for every city-state we're suzerain of science buildings. That doesn't seem like a huge amount. Receive a 3 tech when I become suzerain of a city-state, including this one. Well, that would just give me a 3 tech, which would either be writing 2, sailing, or animal husbandry. Or we can get 20% production towards constructing science buildings for every 20 city-state we're suzerain of. That's not bad. I think that we're going to just take the 3 codex. If we can get closer to our victory condition, the better. And having a codex in my empire actually gives me a beautiful +2 science. So that's a big boost. Lovely. And now that we have suzerained a city-state, I've actually gained a diplomatic attribute point, which we can immediately spend. +1 influence per age on the palace or happiness. I would like to get the boost for befriending independence as soon as I can. So we're actually going to go for the extra influence. It's only +1, but that's an extra 10%. That's pretty good. We also get this lovely narrative event. I can take culture or gold. Again, I'm just saving up the gold to be able to buy something useful. Gee, speaking of, I did want to move that clay pit, and it means I can immediately work the gold. So I'm actually going to buy the brickyard. I'm not going to put it on this tile. I'm going to put it on this one. This will reallocate that population, which I can now plop down on the gold. So I've effectively just moved the improvement 1 tile over. Now I have extra gold purchasing on buildings. This was like 320. Now it's about 300. It just makes my gold more and more valuable. The more I stack, the better. We now want to go to currency. I believe in order to do that, we have to go sailing and then into currency. This will unlock the specialists for me as soon as possible, but I also want to get animal husbandry and sailing. This will give me my unique ranged unit, animal husbandry, and will improve horses a little bit. Oh, go on then. Let's start with animal husbandry. It should be noted that we actually found a natural wonder, Mount Kilimanjaro. It's next to this independent power, but that is worth keeping an eye on in case we want to go and settle into that area. Oh man, they're all hostile around here. What is this? Some abandoned scouts that we can either find work for or send them home. I'm going to send them home because 15 production is okay. 75 happiness is enough to put me into my celebration, which will now roll over next turn. Do I want production towards constructing buildings or 20% bonus food? I'll take the food. And I can also now put charismatic leader down. Oh, it's all coming up Millhouse. More gold. Oh, that's very useful. We need all the silver. We need all the gold. This is a priority for us to settle all of this. Alas, it looks like it's next to somebody. The Incans. Ah, never mind. There are ways to get the gold. Hello, Pachacuti. Every diplomatic action can either be neutrally accepted for no influence cost, where just nothing happens. You can spend influence to reject it, or you can spend influence to support it. If I spend 20 influence, I will gain 20 relationship, which is good. It means he's less likely to war with me, and I'll know where his capital is. So we'll spend it. I always like spending the influence when I meet people. I think it's worth it. And now you can see some of the interactions we can have. All of these cost influence. Confucius is a expansionist scientific leader, which means we have two options available based on that. Research collaboration or farmers market. Farmers market puts food in your towns, but not your cities. We can't use that at the moment. And research collaboration. Now this is an interesting one. If I spend 60 influence, I can gain 4 science per turn. However, I could gain 6 science per turn if Pachacuti chooses to spend influence as well. We're going to risk it. We've got the influence. We might as well. Bam. He supports it. So I gain +6 science. I've gone from 14 to 20. Pachacuti's on 41. It is deity after all. It's pretty scary. But hey, I've got more, and that's what really matters. We'll be fine. We'll work it out. Keep an eye on your influence. Unless you're playing an influence leader, it's very difficult as a resource to obtain. So choose to spend it in ways that are clever and give you good bonuses. Otherwise, you'll just lose it all. I always do every game. I spend it like 5 times more than I actually have it. It's just the way of me. Golden happiness or culture. I'm going to take the gold. Keep giving me gold. It's just early game economy. Lets me build things. Now that I have the gold, it's even better. I love this. My advisors just pop up saying, by the way, you're trailing in tech. It's like, okay, great. Thanks for that. Just made me feel really good about myself. Why don't you? Now we're going to make our first settlement outside of my capital. Remember, this is a settler, not a founder. A founder makes a city at the beginning of the game. A settler simply makes a town. Now, as long as you have put your settlement in range, which I think is about 10 tiles, I haven't quite worked it out yet. A road will be put down between your settlements, which is lovely. It kind of needs a proper bridge there. It's just a ferry, never mind. But towns work kind of differently. Again, you only work the tile that's actually improved, so no difference there. But towns start as growing towns, which means they have a 50% growth bonus. Again, really good when I am already rocking extra growth rate. Oh, this is just in cities. You see, I'm still learning growth rate in cities. Oh, I thought there was going to be a double synergy there. Never mind. So all of this food gets put into extra growth, which is just delicious. All of the production is transformed into gold and sent to my economy. The town cannot work anything itself. If you want anything, you have to buy it with gold, which is a bit boring, but never mind. When it gets to 7 population, I can then look to specialize the town, and then different things happen. But until then, there's nothing really for us to do. We're going to work this silver as soon as we can. It's too good a tile not to. Let's pick up this delicious farm, and then we'll pick up the mine. Bam. Now we have a discount on buying units. Quite good. Scouts are only 100 gold. Warriors are only 100 gold as well. Very handy if you need to scramble an army very quickly. Not that that happens in deity games, but it happens all the time. Oh, more stuff. Quickly beeline them. As soon as you unlock mysticism, a few cool things happen. Firstly, you get this, which is 2 gold in all settlements. I would very much recommend you put that in. Toolmaking's not doing me as much anymore, so we'll put priesthood in. 4 gold per turn. Excellent. We also get a narrative event. Beautiful. And we can pick a pantheon. Broadly, pantheons don't do anything unless, the big unless, you have built an altar in the settlement. There are some really good ones. City patron goddess with 3 influence per turn. That's really good when you consider how important influence is. I've mentioned this before, but I like goddess of the harvest because a lot of the things you were focusing on with granaries, farms, plantations, pastures, they all get extra food, and it will help your towns and cities grow even faster. This would help if you are Confucius and you need population. God of the Sun is also quite handy because it's just a bit of everything. Stone circles is just production. There's a lot of very decent things. I think just to keep it simple, we're going to go for what we went for last game, goddess of the harvest, but we'll play with other strategies soon. I just think with Confucius, this is a a really good synergy. So we need an altar in my capital to make that work. We're going to get sailing. Now we can beeline currency, but, well, I'm getting a little concerned because there is now a galley here, and the galley is going to start doing damage to my settlement, and it could start to rip it up. These are effectively barbarian encampments, and they are terrifyingly powerful, and they will throw units out. It is very important in Civ 7 to make sure your lands are not undefended, because they will be wrecked by independent powers. They really will, and they will tear through and they will destroy. So I would recommend having at least 2 military units for every settlement you've got, which is quite a large standing army, definitely bigger than we've seen before. But seeing as I have a unique archer replacement, I might as well use it. We will unlock those, and I'll start printing those and sending them to defend. I'm also going to burn through a little bit of early game gold, seeing as I have silver now, to buy a unit in my settlement. And now next turn I've got something that I can actually use to defend against the galley. I don't think this scout can actually attack me, you know? So I'm going to risk it. We're going to go and settle towards the cotton over here. If you hear me shouting, you know that it didn't work. Now we're going to unlock discipline. This will give me my first army commander. Army commanders are incredibly handy. You need them. Units don't get experience anymore in Civ 7. You cannot upgrade them with promotions. It's commanders that get these benefits. Oh, we've met somebody. Hello, Camel, the wonderful Chung Chak. Now, she is incredibly aggressive. We want to kind of stay on the right side of her if possible. We'll offer her a friendly greeting, and we'll have to make sure we keep a bit of an army because she is prone to lunge. She starts with a very powerful commander after all. I still don't know how Inca managed to quite get that much science at the beginning of the game. It's a little worrying. He hasn't even got any codices, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but never mind. Don't panic. It'll probably be fine. Yep, so the galley is now attacking my city center, my settlement center. You have to destroy the defenses of the tile before you can attack the unit underneath it. So I have a few tiles or turns that I can attack with. We can start doing some damage and defending as best we can. Pachacuti has the great steel. The first wonder, 26 turns in. Lovely. Here's my source of horse. Yep, the scout didn't attack my settler. We're safe. It's fine. And Chungchak is actually asking me for a research collaboration, which is pretty cool. I don't have the influence to support it, however, so I'm just going to have to accept it. I'm only going to get 2 science, not 6. Hey, it's still something. This is the good thing about having lots of influence. You need it, especially when the AI is feeling like they want to send you diplomatic stuff. Uluru. Oh, lovely. Oh, again, having a little bit of the gold stockpile is helpful. I didn't have the gold to get the culture. Never mind. I'll just, I guess, claim some gold. Now, the exciting thing is that this gold resource is actually outside of the Incan lands. It's 4 tiles away. So I could really annoy him and settle towards it and claim it myself. That is tempting. That is very tempting. It would be very cheeky and would probably put me on the path of war. But it would also give me access to a lot of cool resources that I could use in my capital. So maybe that's not the worst idea. Rather than going for this settlement. Oh, actually, to be fair, this settlement, my settler's already there. Maybe that's city 4. Settlement 4. I keep saying cities. I've just got it in my head. I'm so used to previous editions of Civ. It's going to take me ages to unlearn that. Again, I don't have the influence to spend, so I can't get +3 combat strength. I just have to accept it. 2 gold per turn's pretty nice, though. This scout is just basically following me, standing on every tile I want to go to. Please stop. I want to settle on that tile. Like... Why? Do I punish an officer? Oh, I can get gold or influence? Right now, I think the influence is more important because I keep having to reject people's stuff. Let me have all of it, please. And here's another source of horse. Excellent. Spending a little bit more of my early gold to get an army. Trust me, having a large army at the start of the game is never a bad thing, especially when your settlements are actively being shot at. You might as well get it. I'm just grateful that I managed to befriend Babylon so quickly. It's really exceptional. Otherwise, I would have been attacked from this angle as well. I think it's already bad enough that we've got 2 on our borders here. Sailing. Now all of my land units can embark. We can only go into coast rather than open seas. That's the exploration age, but it's a useful tech to have because now we can go to currency and start picking up specialists, which is very much what we want to focus on. Aha, warriors. That's not good. Okay, so this city-state is now starting to send a pretty large invasion force, which I don't like. It's a good thing we're going to go for discipline and get our commander as fast as possible. I'm going to pull back to the safety of the city and start shooting from here. We're doing the damage. We're doing the damage, but there's a lot of units here that maybe priority should be trying to befriend this independent people. I've almost got the points to start doing it, but it does take a while. They're very much sitting on my lands and they're going to start pillaging me very soon, which is not nice. The galley is sunk though. That's one problem less. Oh, and now I've used it for my first kill. I can either gain more 4 of them, aka just have a 3 unit, or get deadlier arrows. I like the science, the Russian currency, but it's only 1 turn's worth, so I think we're going to actually just get a spare troop. Look at that, another one. Loads of troops. Yay! Okay, we've got 5 of them now. If that's not a good invasion defense force, I don't know what is. And again, do I get a codex, which is my second, or do I get influence to help me treasure that city-state and look after it? I think I'm actually going to go for the codex. I wouldn't be able to display though, but we are going for the library soon. Let's go for the codex. Remember your victory condition. This is mine. This is what I want to do. What are the other victory conditions, you ask? Well, assigning 20 resources to my settlements. Currently, you can see I have 1, because all of these are empire resources, so we need to actually gain more. We need 12 towns or cities in my empire. Conquered counts as 2. If I can get to maybe this would be really good. 10 settlements would be amazing. Otherwise, 8 is fine. I mean, having 7 world wonders in my empire. I don't have the production right now to build world wonders. Maybe I will at the end of the age. I'm not sure, but for now, not so much. All right, let's get the altar down now, because this thing would give me 4 extra food. And if I start to make quarters with it, you'll see that they actually give me happiness, science, and culture. This is a really, really good thing to do. So let's start building those. Settlement number 3. And again, a lovely road has been made. Can immediately allocate the cotton, which I will do. And if we zoom out a little bit, this is the silver we want to go towards. So we'll work towards it by now putting the farm in that direction. Excellent. Yes. Now, I would rather have the food in production in my capital, but because the production in my town is just going to give me 2 gold per turn, whereas this would actually help me to build my library quicker. So that's really good. Yeah. Stacking resources. Let's see what these warriors do. Are they going to pillage my stuff? Nope. They're just going to sit around for now, which is kind of slightly concerning, but never mind. Let's just fire from a distance and get them out of our lands. I've got lots of defenses now. It's always worth having troops. Caffness. Oh, this is another independent nation. This one has a slinger that isn't attacking my scout just yet, but I don't think... Yeah, there you go. I said it. I tempted it. Quick. Gain the thing, get out of there. Oh, there's another galley. Not good, not good. You see what I mean about being swamped? Not joking. I'm really not joking. It's a good thing we built so many units, that's all I'm saying. So they are attacking my unit a little bit, which is not good. But I think, hopefully, we can knock one of these units out. Yeah, so just hold the line. Units are very expendable in this, but in 7 turns, we'll have our commander, and that will help the defense quite considerably. Okay, they can't really decide who they're going to attack, which is quite nice. It gives me an opportunity to do a 3-way attack to knock as many of these units out as we can. Which is all of them. Amazing. Here's Moreau. Okay, Moreau is a commercial place, but they would be a very quick suzerain. They're the wrong side. I would rather spend my influence on this one to just stop it attacking me. My borders are not safe right now, and I don't like it. Focusing on food at the beginning of the game is such a good idea. 180 gold to put a granary in this settlement. Chengdu. I would like the jade. I'd like that in my empire, so we'll pop it on this tile. Nicely culture bombs, and now all of these tiles, 1, 2, 3, are all giving me extra food. That'll help that to grow nicely. Perfect. Galley's gonna stick around and fight me for a bit longer. Fine, I will shoot you to death. I actually think going for the fish over here is a really good idea. Plus 3 food. That's a nice resource. So let's put some fishing boats down there and start to boost towards it. Trailing in civics. Oh, I know. That's somebody else. Ashoka, world renouncer, the peaceful alter ego. You're really far away from me, so I'm not going to bother actually being nice to you. The chances of you declaring war on me are much slimmer. Instead, I'm going to now spend my influence to try and befriend this independent nation, because you're being annoying. It's going to take 30 turns to do it, but I've already survived them the 30 turns, so we can do that again. Oh, by the way, I've left all of the yields here just so you can see them. If you ever want to do that, just go into the menu, options, system, and then click always show ribbon yields. Nice. Just let me know in the comments if it gets annoying. I just think it's quite nice to be able to see them. Might be too busy. I don't know. We're working this stuff out. We're working it all out together. If you're playing on PC, a lot of the keys are the same. H is to heal a unit until it's at full. F is to fortify. Z is to sleep. There's a lot of the same stuff as it was before. Just encourage you all that not much has changed. There's still a lot of consistency in some things. Silver. It's my second. So now we get another chunk of gold off. A unique unit is now 80 gold, not 100. This is really starting to stack quite nicely now. It makes more sense to actually spend my gold on units than it does anything else. How much is a settler? 255 gold. That's not much. I could just do that immediately. I'm not going to spend my influence on happiness right now, but if I just accept it, I gain 2 influence per turn. That's very handy because one thing I can do is save up another 100, and instead of gaining 2 points per turn, I will actually gain 3 points per turn. So this will actually flip it quicker if I would want to. Don't need to. It's just an option. So this is the farmer's market action. This is the one that I could start if I wanted it. If I supported it, we'd both get 3 food per turn in towns for both leaders. I mean, just to show you what that is, I'm on 14 food in Chengdu and Xinyang is on 8. So that's quite a big increase. However, I can't, which means I'm just going to take the 2 gold per turn. You can spend your influence to reject this sort of stuff, but I don't know if it's ever really worth it. Sure, the AI gets a benefit, but you know, the AI always gets a benefit. Now let's put down that library. Tasty library. That will help me quite a bit. Open borders, I'm ages away from you. Another 2 gold per turn. Hey, just look, finding people gives you more and more and more gold. Take it. Don't complain. Keep an eye out for coastal edifices. These are difficult to spot, but these are also tribal villages, but in the water. It's really, really easy to miss them. They do exist, so keep an eye out. Here is discipline. All right, just gonna quickly pop in this beautiful card of +1 scout movement and sight because it makes scouts really quite handy. But now I have a commander. The commander is where all of the experience from fighting goes. All of this fighting has given me nothing. Absolutely nothing. He has a 1 tile range, and if any fighting happens in that range, he gets the experience, and then he starts to level up on this tree. We'll talk about this as we go through it, but you want as many of these points as you can because you want to unlock as many of these commendations as you can. Commanders are so powerful. They're wonderful. I, for one, absolutely love them. My capital actually doesn't have any more resources in range, so I'm going to start putting down farms where I think I'm going to end up replacing them eventually, and to expand my borders. So this one here, or this one, yeah, actually this tile is likely to get replaced by something eventually. So I'll pop it down. Trust me, we're going to convert a lot of our tiles from rural to urban in our capital as soon as we can. Now, if we unlock Code of Laws, we will unlock the merchants, which are incredibly useful. However, we're going to dip into the Han civics and unlock my first unique China Han civic, which actually does a few things, really. Science buildings gain adjacency. We're building a library anyway. That's good. We unlock the Great Wall. Amazing. And I'm also going to get +1 settlement limit. +1 settlement limit's really good because I want to get a 4th settlement down and claim this gold as soon as I can. You've already seen how much the silver is stacking. It's going to get better. It's going to get better than that. I've just been keeping an eye out to see if I can see any more gold and silver. I can't really, which is a shame. Some starts can give you like 4 or 5 copies and it's quite ridiculous. Now, one new thing you can do with units is instead of just regularly fortifying like you could in Civ 6 where they gain a defensive bonus, they actually now make fortifications that anyone can stand in. So just press F or the fortify button and they start to dig fortifications. Give them a couple of turns and this will actually become a really defensive wall that the city-state is going to struggle to get through. I'm going to leave all of my Chukanus just in Xinjiang for now because I don't trust Achamonia. But who knows? Who knows? It's probably fine. This war, I want to stay away from that warrior if possible. That thing is a nightmare. Head in this direction instead. Now I have unlocked Jade, 15% gold. Well, my city is making 2 gold per turn. So 15% gold. It's not great, but hey, look, it's something. And eventually that will be useful, but right now, not so much. And Chengdu has actually now hit 7 population, which is very interesting. It's interesting because I can now give it a specialization, a focus. There are 5 to pick from: fort, urban, farming, mining, and trade. I think others appear in different ages at different points. Once you pick a focus, you gain the benefit of whatever it's talking about. So all of my farms, pastures, plantations in this town would gain food, or camps, woodcutters, clay pits, mines, quarries would gain production. And instead of the town growing, all of the food in that town would then begin to get sent to all of my cities. So all of this food, this 18 food, would stack together with the 37 in my city, and you'd see the city growing really quickly. Once you unlock currency, it's very, very good to start focusing on that. However, for now, I'm just going to let this grow out just a smidge more, just a tiny bit more, maybe get to about 10 population. We still have some jade and some marble that we could pick up. We'll keep working on it. We do want to go to that sort of growth focus pretty soon. I'm going to spend my gold on the aforementioned settler. We're going to be getting more settlement capacity soon, but I really want to go and claim this gold. It's so worth it. Might settle there, actually. This is a fairly defendable spot. Pachacuti will not like me doing that at all. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, do I care? And the answer often is no. Not with this standing army, I don't. It's the good thing about having fought Achamonia for so long. I've become tough and strong. Look, fortifications are all complete, you see? Now these units are like really capably defending that tile. I'm going to start spending my influence now. I think the extra science per turn to both leaders is really quite good. If I can continue doing endeavors with Camel, with Shangshak, we can create an alliance and I don't have to worry about the left-hand side. The border with Pachacuti is a little more troubling to me, but we'll come to that in a bit. Only one problem at a time, you know, just one thing at a time. We only need to wait 7 turns and this will actually stop attacking me and then I can move my armor to Pachacuti's border, which would be really good. Okay, the commander has now arrived, which means now as I start shooting this slinger, you'll see the commander is now starting to gain experience, which is really good. We'll just watch that grow and grow and grow. Hanging Gardens is built by Camel. Okay. Keep an eye on where all these wonders are being built, you know? Maybe I don't have to build them myself. Maybe I can simply inherit them. 20 turns for a wonder. It's just, I don't think worth it right now for me. Instead, my capital is actually going to start to make the Shidafu. These are my unique great people and they start really cheap. They all have random effects. Let's just roll the dice and see what we get. Something quite cool could pop up. We've met Greece and we've met the man with the dad bod. It's Charlemagne. Again, you're so far away from me, I don't really care for you very much, but that's fine. I know you're there now. I like the purple. The purple's very cool color. That's a lovely color. It's kind of better than this sort of very beigey color we're rocking. Currency. Now we have specialists. Okay, now I really do want to start focusing on getting growth in my city because we want to put the specialists down, especially because I think we just got a scientific point. Yes, we did. I'm not sure entirely what gained that, but sometimes if it gives it to you, you're like, okay, great, perfect. That'll do. Production towards constructing buildings does help a little bit, but I'm going to go for science towards researching tech masteries because these things are really quite handy. Pachacuti is not going to like me settling next to him, so I'm going to start an endeavor with him now in the hope that this increases my relationship with him. Yep, it will. It'll go up by 12. Maybe he'll forgive me settling near him. I don't want to fight if I can get away with it. Antiquity age fighting is brutal and horrible and really quite messy. It's just like a slogfest. You don't want to just mash troops against each other. We'll survive it for as long as we can. Let's now go for the mastery of writing. This is now faster because of the point I got, but this gives me 1 science on science buildings, like the library I'm just building, and we can gain an extra codex, which I can then display. Speaking of, I don't think I ever actually allocated it. No, I didn't. I finished the library, never put it in. So that was 2 science I could have been getting. Never mind. Here's my first great person. They're all random. This one is activate on a science building to receive a 3 random technology. Oh, wow. That's pretty good. I mean, I've got a couple of quite cheap tech still available. Oh, no, actually, masonry and irrigation, they're the cheapest and they're still pretty good. I could get navigation. Let's just finish this mastery quickly, but we'll stand there and we'll activate him in 2 turns. Very useful. So in 7 turns, we're going to gain a settlement limit, but I'm going to rush this settlement, pop it down as soon as we can, and bam, have 3 settlements with at least 3 mountains each. We've unlocked Inca for the next stage. Have I already done that? I don't know if I have. Some of these unlocks can still be a little bit funny, but I mean, I've almost done it. But Linji, you just need to claim the gold as soon as possible. Or a quest. If I start 4 diplomatic endeavors, I get an expansionist attribute point. Oh, anything that gives you attribute points, take it. Take it. It's always worth it. You can see the road is now back, which is lovely, and claim this farm and the source of gold. You can now see the granary is a cheap 156 gold. That's brilliant. So what does going over your settlement cap mean? Well, not good things. I now have -5 happiness in all settlements. My capital's doing all right. This city is now on 0. This is -1, so that's now getting -2% on everything. This is -2%. You can normally rock over maybe 1 over your settlement limit, and you can see I'm settling aggressively. The AI is on 2 or 1 settlements. I've gone all the way to 4 already. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth just nudging this forward. We're going to quickly pick that up, which will allow me more, and then we'll go for another another settler very soon. Oh, in fact, here's 100 influence. Oh, I'll grab that because now I can start a couple of endeavors of my own. I need this for the points. So we'll start the farmer's market. This is with my potential ally. She supports it, which means we're now gaining, I think, 3 food in every settlement. That's worth 9 food per turn for me. Brilliant. You can only have a single instance of an endeavor going at any one point. So you can see, because we have a research endeavor with Pachacuti, I can't make one with anyone else. Other people can propose them to me, and now I have some influence to deal with them, but it only works in one direction. And look, you can see now my great person is a little bit more expensive than they were before. So there is a bath here that is worth 5 food, which I can replace the farm, which is giving me 4 food. But do you remember I mentioned before that this was a tile I was going to replace? Let's get this done now because I can reallocate the population as a specialist. A specialist has 2 science, 2 culture, -2 food, and -2 happiness. However, I'm Confucius, which means that my specialists have an extra 2 science. I'm also gaining an extra science and an extra culture, I believe, because the tiles, the palace itself, I believe, is giving me adjacency. Let's just quickly check that. It's not being particularly helpful. Yeah, I think it's because this quarter has an extra chunk of science and culture from having adjacent quarters next to it. So the specialist is giving more. So we'll pop it there. I'm on 36 science and 16 culture. So this is a huge boost for me. 41. Now I'm starting to catch the AI back up. And now we can put specialists down. It's looking increasingly important for me to really focus on getting the food growth down in my nation. Speaking of, I'm going to buy a granary, replace it on this farm, which means I can now reallocate the population and claim the fish. So this settlement hasn't lost any food. But now this fish is worth 3 food. I can pop that on my capital, grow it out faster to get more specialists. You see, it all chains together. It's all logical, probably. That looks like a bad flood. It is a bad flood. Has it destroyed anything? No. Okay, we're lucky. It's only a light one. It's actually put some tile yields down though. That's a really good tile now. Wow. 6 yield. It's a shame I'm not really making rural population, but maybe, and this is why we've got accumulated influence. Pachacuti is now offering to start their farmers market. So that's another 3 food per turn in towns. So now every single one of my 3 towns is on a bonus 6 food. Oh, that's good. Yes. Grow. So we're going down the legacy path. This is really good. A scientific legacy point. Amazing. And an attribute point. Even better. And that's all by finishing writing 2, the mastery. I've gained a codex and +1 science on my libraries. Amazing. Loads of codexes. Loads of fun times. As we all know, Civ is all about fun times. Yes. Feed the commander experience. Now I have a promotion. If you get to the bottom of any of these tracks, you unlock a commendation. Commendations are really good. I'm going to go for assault because assault gives a lot of my units the first strike ability, but also can increase the strength of ranged units. So this is a really good defensive one. So let's get this promotion and just keep on going down this tree. And now you can see we finished the tech. Everything we can do here is really cool. So let's burn our great person. Bam. Irrigation. +1 settlement limit. Okay, well, we can actually look to get another settler really quickly now. Hanging gardens, that's already been built. And the garden, a really good food building. It's all good. It's all good. Nothing too exciting happening right now. Masonry. This will unlock the monument, which can give me culture, but also extra influence. And my mines and quarries will gain the production as well. 3 extra combat strength for fortified districts can be handy if you are defending as well. We really are in a position where we're having to defend too much, but I'm just keeping an eye on Pachacuti. Do not trust at all. I keep thinking, what would I do in Pachacuti's position? And, you know, I'm not to be trusted, so maybe that's fair. Wow, that's a 14 pop capital. AI is doing well. I have really been impressed with how the AI plays this game. I know I've mentioned it a couple of times. AI in Civ 7 does appear to be quite competent, which is always a winning formula in my book. Always a winning formula. Open markets for 6 gold per turn. It's quite a lot of influence to spend, but 6 gold per turn is like 15% extra gold. Yes, I'll take it. Play nicely, Ursa. I'd like to keep exploring as well, so I will pay some influence to get open borders. In you go, Mr. Scout. Wow, that's a lot of hoplites. Charlemagne, I'm pretty glad I'm not starting next year. Let's just put it that way. City-state. It's backed off. Just as I got a promotion that gives me +2 combat strength for ranged units. So, okay. I'm glad you saw sense when you did. City-state in another 15 turns will obey my beck and call. And for now, this town is population 8. It's not really growing very quickly. I would like to put some more emphasis on my capital, which has 28 food per turn coming in at the moment. There's 24 available here now. So we're going to switch this town over to a farming town. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 farmable districts, there's another +4 food on those. So we should go from 24 to 28. And now if we go into the food of my capital, you can see +28. It's now growing at twice capacity. Amazing. Just a little nudge for some more specialists. Oh, you love to see it. You love to see it. Unexpected real estate. This is a good one. Do I want a small amount of food in my capital or +1 gold in all settlements? Well, that's +4 gold per turn. That sounds amazing. Let's do that. Sometimes the choices are easier than others, you know? Sometimes they just make sense. Silk for some extra culture, gypsum, ivory. Decent resources over there. They're not amazing. I'm just scouring the map for other areas I would want to go to. Double cotton over there, which is quite nice. Camels are always worth going for. I go and put a town over on this coast, though. It's always good to have access to the coast in both directions for the exploration age. Maybe I go and work down in this direction for the sheep, but also double iron. That'd be very good for defense. Yeah, maybe we're going to send our next one into the desert, although a lot of units over there. I'm going to have to actually bring my defensive force back, which should be easy enough to do. Whenever you get resources in, always remember to have a play with them. Like this 15% gold from the jade is rubbish, but 2 extra food, hey, that helps in my capital. Capital's all about growing right now. Great walls, science buildings gain adjacency from quarters, settlement limits. Suddenly we find ourselves at 4 out of 5. What is this? And my capital is kind of under threat. Not good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my commander to pack in all 3 of these units into the tile. Now I have 3 movement on this army commander. We're going to start marching them to the other side where I can protect any settler that's going to go and claim this desert. I think claiming this mountain pass defensively is really good. It means anyone wanting to get through to my capital has either got to go over this navigable river with some settlements defending it, or through this mountain pass, which could be very easily fortified. I like this. Thematically, this is cool. There is one resource, of course, I didn't pick up, which I forgot to mention. This camel. The camel is really quite useful. You do want the camel, so I'm going to actually pick this up first before we get the specialist, which does pain me slightly. But now the camel is in my capital, and it's increased the amount of resources that can be put in here by 2. These things stack, and you want as many camels in your empire as possible. An entirely camel-based economy is possible and probably preferable. Next up on my quest line, I want to unlock mathematics and put down academies. Mathematics is there, which means I've got to go to engineering and bronze working, which I would love to do. Bronze working has a really good production building, but it also has the next level of my unique units, so it powers them up if I spend a bit of gold, which I would love to do. 5 food, fishing key. Yeah, all right. Pop that down. Make all of these tiles better. Yes, continue growing. In the same way, this beautiful granary. We'll go over and get that wine as fast as we can, shall we? All this food will come back to my capital eventually. Soon. Speaking of, in mysticism, there is this beautiful little mastery called clan networks, which gives 2 food in all settlements. Yep, all of them. It's good, isn't it? Luckily, Babylon's army is actually stopping this army from attacking my capital too much. They've marched a long way to be with me today. I don't even know where they are. That's the worst thing. But no matter, my army commander's on the way with reinforcements, so we'll get there in time, I think, probably. Farming town on my second settlement. Just check to see if the food is coming in. It's always worth it. There is a funny range system I still haven't quite worked out in terms of how far away a town can be before your city stops receiving benefit from it. But both of these are now feeding food into my capital, which is just lovely. Yum. Big yum. Another farmer's market. Well, okay then. This is good considering all the food that's going into the farmer's market is ending up back in my capital. Look at them. 3 of them. 9 food per settlement right now. 9. Oh, it's so good. So my commander has arrived, and one of my promotions is units can move after unpacking from the commander. So I'm going to make sure that my full health archer gets unpacked onto this tile to act as a bit of a blockade. Then the injured ones are going to be just behind like this and can just move forward. And now I'm going to use a new thing, which is called focus fire. All ranged units within a command radius, which is all 3 of them because they're all within this white hexagon, they all have +2 combat strength on the attack against this poor swordsman, which now gets fired on all of them. Bam. Get back, I say. Get back. You are not welcome here. You really are not. Let's get the saw pit done. I want to move any of these tiles around. To be honest, I don't really need this farm anymore. I've got 100 food coming in, so I could just replace this tile. But this one's going to give me a little bit of extra science if I put it down there. Yeah, we'll do it. I like specialists. Specialists are fun. So move that back, and you can see 5 science on this tile. Oh, that's good. 50 science now. Hachikuti's on 87, so That's not good. That's not good at all, but never mind. Oh no, I lost a unit. The slingers got their revenge eventually. Never mind. As I say, these units are very, very expendable. Remember that. You can always look to expend them. Although, yeah, now Shamron is doing a lot of damage against me. I think I've actually got to get more troops back in here. Luckily, they're quite cheap. 80 gold. But I would like to get my settler out very soon. There's no point. If I don't get the army now, I'm going to just get killed. So we'll do that. Spearmen are like upgraded swordsmen. If you see one of these charging towards you, you got problems. Get back, I say. Get back. Very soon, we're actually going to have the upgrade available to our unique unit, which will make it more powerful. And the mastery to bronze working actually makes all infantry units better as well. So we have hope. Don't worry. There is hope. Just stay strong. Stay strong, everyone. My scout is really not as useful as they once were. So we're going to now put the 2 food in all settlements. Again, stack in the bonuses. Let's get the settler out. If I can fight over here rather than here, at least they're out of my capital. I don't like fighting around my capital. It feels quite invasive. This is a useful card. Discipline has honor, which is +3 combat strength against independent powers. It's kind of like your discipline card from Civ 6. Let's just dip into that quickly. Good mastery, that one. I might as well just train some reinforcements quickly. I tell you, city-states, independent powers, whatever you want to call them, they are nasty. Oh, don't preload your scout movement like that, otherwise you'll just dump it into a bunch of people. Not good. So you say, more specialists? Okay then, although capital isn't happy anymore, so we should keep an eye on that. Oh, he survived. Oh my goodness, get out of there quick. Speaking of just surviving, this rush down at my south of my empire this is looking a little worse. Get a little fleeting kill there. Move you back and then buy in a new unit. We've got the weight of numbers. We should be fine. The 2 silver in my empire right now is making these very cheap and very, very defendable. Yeah, they pulled back. They know they're not going to win that. Very sensible. Now I can upgrade. This effectively gives me +5 combat strength and they're 55 gold each to upgrade. That's not too bad. I personally think it's quite worth it. Although I think on these combat fronts, we might just be all right to keep advancing for now. And then charge towards me. Babylon's doing great work here, just annoying all of these little city-states. Let's go for wheel. This gives me the villa, which again gives me influence, but happiness as well this time. Very useful for my capital, which is slightly unhappy. Not much I can do about it right now, but if we can get a little happy, maybe by putting some sheep into it, that's not a bad shout. That will probably help. That's not very sensible. Yep, that is a commander from an independent nation. They do it. They're pretty scary. Kill it before they can summon powerful units to kill you back. Oh, here we go. Our relationship with Xiongshak has got so good that now we can form an alliance with her. I don't think she's at war with anyone here. No, she's not at war with anyone, so forming an alliance is fine. This means we've now got like one decent ally that is not going to stab us in the back. Probably. We'll work that through as we go. Maybe she will stab me in the back. It's difficult to say conclusively. The choke point city. The settlement of defense has now been founded. Don't worry about desert. Desert, you can still put farms on. There is food here. It's all good. Might be tempted to worry. I don't want you to worry. I need you to relax. It's all fine. All we're doing here is making sure we have lots of sheeps to make my capital nice and happy again. Oh, lovely. Yep, they're going to back off. I thought they might back off. Quite sensible, that. Just looking at them thinking, you sure you want to have this fight? Are you sure about that? We really need to get code of laws now and unlock merchants, one of the most crucial parts of the economic game. So far, we've actually managed to get a legacy point even without it, which is quite incredible. Keep working on that. Focus fire. Fire away. Farmers markets. Every time someone offers me a farmers market, I have to say yes. I'm legally obligated to because it's so good. And here's my second city-state. Gold buildings receive extra gold for every city-state. It's not a huge ability. Lapis lazuli in the capital for production. Oh, 5% gold for every city-state I'm suzerain of. That would be 10%. Trade route range for every city-state you're a suzerain of. Gemstones is tempting. I've got 20 production in my capital. I was just looking at it. So 24 is a big increase. Although 3 holders I think works in the later stages of the game, but all of these reset at the end of the age. So we're going to go for gemstones. A little bit of extra production, and I'm going to make the gold situation even worse by getting rid of the jade. But that is a huge increase now. Always keep an eye on where your next fix of settlement capacity is going to come from. It can be quite tricksy sometimes. It can hide away, especially in antiquity. Entertainment has some. Organized military has some. There's only 2 more. Yeah, there's not a lot, but that's okay. We can work with what we've got. 7 is fine. Just means you have to really focus on getting some very strong settlements. Not going around making sure that we're buying altars in all of my settlements. More food on the farms. It's a 6 food farm tile. It's all going back to the capital. Beautiful. Keep with the specialists. It's what we do best. I'm actually just going to hold back on the growth of my capital for a little bit because the happiness is becoming a problem and I don't want to really push that too much. Not until I have the happiness building set up. So we're going to switch my towns back to growing just for a bit. It's actually good to do this every now and then just to make sure everyone's growing. Population's king. All helps in the end. Oh yeah, instead of every 10 turns growing, we're now every 35. That's brutal. Good timing. Food growth again. We like celebrating. Celebrating's fun. And combat strength against independent powers is very good, seeing as again we're being raided for a second time. Or for once. 3 food. Happiness per turn in cities. That's not bad. It's worth a lot of influence though, but that would help me to grow a bit. No, I'll take the influence, but it was tempting for a second. Loads of wonders in this city. Just remember that. This is not a bad city. Not a bad city at all. So I was just testing something here, and as I suspected, Linji is slightly too far away from my capital to send it food back. If I put it onto a focus, there's no food going back. So this is actually a very good candidate for a second city. I've been thinking I need a second city for a little while because my capital is suffering from happiness right now. So it makes sense to have a second place, but I can put all of the specialists down. So we're going to convert this town to a city. The more population a town has, the cheaper this conversion is. So 250 gold. And bam! Now it's a city. And because it's a city, it has its own production and it can build its own things. You can have things like monuments. Oh my lord, that's at +7. It is. Oh, it's because it's next to a natural wonder. I see. Oh, that's a good building. All right then. Okay, well, we want that monument up as fast as we can. But now we're going to start to grow a lot of these things out because the food will be shared between a bunch of my different towns. The cities will start to receive it in various different amounts. 51 food is absolutely fine. We're going to put another settlement there, maybe another one here. Just link these up with my new city. Every city kind of needs about 3 towns next to it. That's my ideal. You can get away with 2, but early game, there's only going to be 2 more settlements. So maybe we'll put 1 there and maybe 1 here, and maybe we'll potentially make this into a city. I don't know. You don't have to keep them cities and towns in between ages. You can change your mind on what you want. There's a lot of flexibility here, so just work on this as we go. Why not? Anything next to Kilimanjaro is very good. It's not a bad spot for a city. A bunch of resources work better in cities that are not my capital, such as this kiln. That gives me 4 food. I'm going to move things like the fish over, or potentially even the camels. My capital doesn't need to work this as fast. My new city needs new stuff. Got a new favorite thing now. More specialist potential. What we're all about. So we've spoken about this before, but natural disasters in Civ 7, yes, they damage tiles and you can see 3 population lost in my capital. Ugh. But damage is not permanent. All I need to do is spend a little bit of gold, which is annoying. I didn't really want to spend this gold, but never mind. But I can immediately go and fix everything. And hey presto, my population is back. Yay! No lasting damage at all. Wonderful. I think I might make a couple of my great people whilst I'm waiting. Why not just utilize them as best I can? Okay, my next goal is to save up 365 gold because I'm going to get another settler and preemptively go and settle down here. Not only to have access to the coast around Pachacuti, but there's another gold and I really, really want as much of this gold as I can. And then the 7th city is going to go down near the silver. So we're going to have 2 more settlements down there. Will it annoy everyone? Probably, but I believe counting through all of my benefits, we can only get our settlement cap up to 7. There's 1 in entertainment and there's 1 in organized military. None of my other stuff seems to have any, so Han China only gets +1. Some get +2, some get +1. Not an issue. Maybe we can probably rock to 8 towards the end of the age when our happiness is a little higher, but for now that's okay. We don't mind that. This great person provides a free codex. Lovely. I don't have any space for that at the moment. Maybe we'll put a library down in this city. Nice +5 we could pop down. It's making the monument at the moment, or we'll wait a few turns because we're hitting engineering and then we'll be at mathematics soon to get the academy. Still quite a good one. So we'll just let you wait for a second and maybe we'll treat myself to another. Yeah, go on then. I like these great people. Use it or lose it, I say. We've got 1 alliance already. If I can just try and keep sending things over to Pachacuti, maybe he'll forgive the fact that I'm settling really close to him. It's worth a try, isn't it? It's worth a try. Let's send him another research collaboration. He supports it. He wants to be friendly. friendly. It's just that I'm really annoying. I can't blame him for thinking I'm annoying. I am annoying. Literally what I do. So unlocking Code of Laws has given me my first merchant. Merchants make trade routes. All you have to do is simply walk them onto any foreign city. It has to be within range, so you can see these ones over to my left are out of range of this city, but Pachacuti's capital is there. If I form a trade route, I will give him 4 gold per turn. Well, it just sort of fabricates out of midair, but I will gain access to 2 sheep resource, which are the improved resources in this city. That's actually quite good. We want to do that as soon as we can. Let's head over there. You can only send 1 trade route to each civilization. There is a sort of soft cap, but if you go in and spend a bit of influence, you can improve trade relations and increase that by +1. So it's a very soft cap. You can easily keep pushing it up and up. I would like to go and create a trade network over in this direction. I can't create a trade network in Babylon, unfortunately. At least I didn't think I could. Let's just check that again. No, I can. So if I put one into Babylon, then that would actually give me potentially an option to trade further. But this mountain range is actually pretty solid. I mean, look, this is a really defensive point. This is why my settlement is so good. Okay, we'll have to work over to my other ally. That's fine. Now we go public life into entertainment. Let's start pushing that settlement limit as quickly as we can. Checking on the rankings. I am winning on science, economy, and military, but Pachacuti is building wonders. Interesting that all of the wonders seem to be in this settlement. Not that I am taking notice of where they all are in case, I wanted to go and explore them later. Sure, I wouldn't do anything like that. No, absolutely not. Now on to mathematics. Slowly does it. We'll get there. Look at this. Look at that culture. Oh, this is why specialists really start to improve your empire and why having multiple cities is a good thing. You want as many of these specialists as you can get away with. My new great person adds 3 influence to the palace. Hey, I've only got +18, so that's a huge increase. Done. Nice. How much is the next one? 4 turns again. Do you have the ability to build an amphitheater? Now, I could start putting some great wall tiles down. These are funny little things. This is my unique infrastructure. They go on top of rural districts. They keep the warehouse bonuses below them. It's a difficult one to sort of explain, but effectively, there is 2 production on this tile from warehouse bonuses. So there would still be 2 production as well as the 2 culture. I'll build one so you can kind of see it working. In fact, actually, no, it keeps all 3 of them. Well, keep an eye on this. This is very, very good once you get it going. Oh my lord, +13 villa. That's ridiculous. 14 amphitheater. We've actually got to pick between the happiness and the culture. I think we might actually have to go for the culture. How much is the amphitheater? 500 gold. That's so much gold. Okay, we need to keep increasing that. I'm going to start moving my farms now to production because I want to work these tiles for the happiness. So let's create an urban district by moving that tile and we'll start working the natural wonder. Bit of happiness there. Excellent. Get that altar going as quick as we can. Just put a mine down in my capital here, because my wall can extend if you keep putting rural districts down in order. Just wait. Just wait. This will get really good. Oh my lord, what's going on here? This is a full-fledged invasion with an army commander. This is all Cirta. Oh my lord. Well, hopefully this will be befriended very soon by my ally, but in the meantime, army commander, get everyone to fire in this direction, please. Thank you. We've got to hold this area. Check for relationships. No one's at war. That's good. Form the alliance. We have another friend. We're playing nice. This is the most peaceful game I've played in a long time. Normally I'm very wary. I know, you wouldn't believe me, would you? All right, let's send my first merchant down and we should get, bam, 2 more sheep resources, which I can allocate anywhere I want for a bit of production and a bit of happiness. Well, this is brilliant because now my capital has more production, but it's also happy. So look, these things are always worth it. I say always, kind of sometimes. Remember, the first time you build any of your unique things, you normally get a narrative event, and the Great Wall is no different. We can get either science or culture. I'm just rushing through culture because I want my settlement limit. So that's public life. Now we can go entertainment. 16 turns. Oh, that's quite a wait, but I can wait. I can afford to wait. And here's my first piece of wall. So it has the production from the original improvement, but then also the culture from the new improvement. And even better, +1 happiness for each adjacent great walls. Each one of these will gain an extra happiness. The reason it says 2 is not because the wall will get 2 happiness. Each wall's getting 1. It just calculates it for you. It's very, very clever. So there you go. We're going to start building that now. And we buy another settler. This is the best bit about Pachacuti letting his guard down now is is. Now there's nothing stopping me going to settle around him and claiming this gold. I'm sorry. It's the most annoying thing to do, but I am annoying. That's just who I am. I'm gonna start upgrading some of my Chukanus. Just a couple, but +5 combat strength on the defensive ones, keeping all of these 3 cities out. It helps me to create a barricade that no one will ever push through, potentially. More Great Wall, more narrative events. Yes, production towards constructing more. Why not? I mean, it stacks pretty well, doesn't it? Look at these yields appearing, all the culture, all the happiness. Anything to get more specialists into my city? Koba. Pachacuti is sort of settling now away. That's okay. It's taken a lot of space in the middle of the territory, but none of this is particularly very good land. As long as I get this gold, I think we're pretty happy. We're pretty happy. Okay, it's in a slightly awkward place. We're still 10 turns away from getting our next settlement cap, but there's no time like the present. Plonk it down and please, man, there's a road. If there's a road, it means it's connected. That's always a good thing. So all we need now is this gold as soon as possible. So let's grow this 1 tile. Then I will buy... Oh, no, I won't buy anything. I was thinking about putting a fishing dock there, but I can't. Because I need to buy the building there. I'm still getting used to the urban and rural patterns here, but okay, we've culture bombed all this land. We'll get the gold very soon. This is good. Well, actually, we can save our gold until we have another 20% extra purchasing power. It's very handy indeed. And you can see my new town has a bunch of farmer markets still in it. We like diplomatic stuff. It's cool. 2 people are now above 100 science, by the way. Look at that. Isn't that scary? We will get there. The antiquity is the weakest era for the player. We just have to convince ourselves that we will eventually catch up. Oh, Pachacuti doesn't like that. Okay, that's fine. We can just keep pushing our relationship with him. Eventually, if he does declare war on me, I'll just steal all these wonders from him, so it's not the end of the world. Oh, there's the that's the one. This is the one that's been attacking me this entire time. Thank goodness we found it. I'm still trying to save up my influence to take over a couple of city-states, but I keep spending my influence. Influence is, honestly, it's that one resource that you just keep spending no matter what you try and do. You can try behaving all you want. It's just so easy to spend. It really is. Grow town, get the gold. Perfect. Now all of our buildings are even cheaper. That is ridiculous how cheap they are. The city-state is nearer with me, so let's negotiate this one first, and then we'll work on Cirta afterwards. For the low cost of 484 gold, there is a +14 amphitheater. Oh yeah, that has just exploded my culture per turn. Oh, amazing. I've got the 2nd highest in the game now, and I've got another codex. Oh yeah, go for it. Perfect. This is all my win condition. I've got spare ones now. I really want to build more Great Wall. It's not the best thing I could do at all. Some would say this is a total waste, but equally, I kind of really want to. So I'm going to, but so much damage from floods. It does add yields, which is good, but still, stop it. Stop it. Don't want everything dying all the time. I just had a library finish. That's great, because now there's space for more great works. So we'll just move some stuff over. Now I can put my other codex in. And my great person can finally be used. A Book of Han. I actually don't know what that is. Gives 2 culture. Does it count as displaying a codex though? It does. So it has contributed to Great Library. Good, good, good. I was worried I was going to get swindled out of some stuff there, but I didn't. It's fine. Some more camels. That means more resources. I'll pop this one in my original capital because now I can put more happiness resources there, and the more we allocate, don't forget, the more economic progress we make. Is that another alliance? I do not remember ever being this friendly with so many people. Oh my goodness. I mean, take it. Confucius is just clearly everyone's favorite friend. I've decided I'm not going to play ball with the last city-state, so instead what we're going to do is start sending farmers markets to get a bit more food, and this also gives us the righteousness quest. It gives me another expansionist attribute point. Remember to do the quests as they pop up, because now I have 25% production towards training settlers. That one's not very good. This one is good though. +1 food per age on warehouse buildings helps on like granaries, saw pits. There's a load of fun stuff that benefits, so keep an eye on that one. I'm going to start sending more stuff as well to Pachacuti so that I can retain good relationship with him. I know he has a lot of science, but he's the one where if I was to go to war with him, I don't want to be the one where he declares war, because I mean, he's got a lot of troops. I think, is he gonna fight my other ally? Or is he fighting stuff? I don't know. There's a lot of army just moving around here. We do need to be a little careful. Look, more Great Wall though. Yay! That's actually really helpful on happiness. My capital is just a little happier than it once was. +1 settlement limit. Mathematics. Oh, what a turn. Okay, we're back at 6 of 6, which means I'm no longer taking a big happiness penalty. I'm still really glad we grabbed that gold. I'm tempted also to try and grab this silver for exactly the same reason. It's too good a resource not to. But I have seen there there is more gold down here, so I could potentially continue settling down this way and be just the most annoying person. It would probably be a very disconnected settlement, but is it worth it? Probably is. Let me think on it. It could be too cheeky even for me. Oh, here's a quest. Am I going to be more easily able to make a quarter with an academy and an amphitheater, or an academy and a blacksmith? Now, I don't actually know where I've put the amphitheater. Have I already put it on something? Oh no, there is. Okay, so the amphitheater is available. I think I've put the blacksmith down somewhere. The academy, that's a really good tile for it. Okay, let's put the science and the culture on the same tile. That's an easier quest. We can do that. In fact, let's start working on it right now. Sure, there's a +9 there, but this +8 is absolutely great. I think we're now going to go for either the mastery of mathematics to gain 2 codices, or navigation, because navigation gives a lighthouse, and the lighthouse increases the number of resources you can put on a city, which really does help. Let's go navigation. I always forget to get it, but it is a really, really handy thing because I can put one down in my capital, can't put one down in this city, but this will help the resources we can generate. So unlock some of mine now. Han civics, +2 influence on the palace. Influence is such a useful resource. I want that. I want it now. This is the aforementioned independent people's, but really annoying me with constant attacks. So I'm actually going to put a scout in the tile. Oh, and I can't do it with a scout. If you fortify with a unit, you can actually destroy it. Unfortunately, scouts can't do that. Never mind. Oh, there's gold. There's more gold. Oh, that's in this direction. Okay. There's no connection available, but that's really useful. Don't forget, if the AI picks up the gold, that's also good because I can send a merchant to it and then gain it that way. So I almost want the AI to pick up a settlement in this location. Gold and silver. That's so valuable. So valuable. So these are all of the available trade routes at the moment. Babylon is now giving me access to some camels, which is very handy. Kafnas has got 2 cotton, which is a really good one as well. You know what? I actually want to send merchants to both of these locations now, but in the meantime, Tikal has 4 resources. That's amazing. The only reason I can't trade is because I'm out of trade route capacity. Not an issue. 50 influence, and bam, now I have an extra slot. Off you go, Mr. Merchant. Off you go. Oh, it looks like this gold is going to be improved really soon. Yes, do it. I want to trade with you immediately. Oh, don't you love it when the AI builds your unique wonder before you even unlock it? Oh, duh, Charlemagne got it. Never mind. It happens. It happens. If you don't focus on your own civic tree, that can happen. I have not been focusing on a wonder game. I am trying to build Colosseum because it was giving me ridiculous yields, but that's irrelevant. People are now sending me trade routes, which is really cool. Every time they do that, I get more gold. I'll take it. I like gold. Specialists are still giving me outrageous amounts of yields. Brilliant. Keep giving them to me. Thank you. I haven't mentioned how much I like yields. I think I have, you know. Here's the trade route. 12 gold. Oh, that's a lot to give up, but it's more resources in the bank. More resources I have in the bank, the more we can allocate, the better this will be. Let's keep allocating these. There we go. We've got ourselves an economic legacy point. We only need 4 more resources assigned, and we've actually totally got to the end of the Silk Roads path, which is amazing. Considering we're focusing on science, we've done well economically to just keep pushing this stuff up. Speaking of, hello Babylon. We've unlocked Majapat with 3 naval trade routes. Probably won't be taking those next era, but again, thank you very much. I've now got more space for resources, and that is the lighthouse unlocked. Now we go to the mastery. We're going to unlock as many of these as we can. 2 codices. There's 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. So we've got enough to win this. All I need to do is just keep on the science and keep finishing these techs as fast as I can. +1 science from specialists. This is a card I want to unlock now. I have a lot of specialists. A lot of them. Lighthouse. More resource capacity. Yes. It's all stacking together. Blacksmith, more production. Helps me build the Colosseum faster. Stack, 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 stack. This is why I love this game. It just, everything begins to click about turn 80, 90, and suddenly everything has capacity and production. And you're moving, and everything's working, and it's just everything. Oh, it sings. More of my great people? Might as well. Well, this is an interesting choice. My ally has gone to war with Charlemagne. Now, I can either support him by declaring war as well, or I can stay neutral and end the alliance. Now, if I do that, it's not just ending the alliance, it's also a massive diplomatic penalty. Just notice this settlement here. How cheeky. That is ridiculous. Why would you settle? Oh, that's so funny. Now, Charlemagne is ages away from me, and I haven't really got a huge amount going on with him, so at this point, I'm going to actually support Pachacuti, which means I'm now at war. There is a balance of war caused by war weariness. Now, I can support myself using influence. I'll do that just a tiny bit. That means if if any of my units bump into Confucius's, I'll have +1 combat strength, or more specifically, he'll have -1. But it also means he's now taking a happiness penalty in every single one of his settlements. The reason I want that is I do not want a happiness penalty in every single one of my settlements, so we need to keep it swung in that direction if possible. We should be fine. His troops should be ages away, although actually there are some hoplites stood randomly here. That's not good. But maybe we're actually going to call our other allies into this war just by us being at war, so it might end up working out quite nicely for us. We shall see. Silk Roads, I believe it is pretty much complete. If not complete, it is complete. Okay, so we've unlocked the legacy option. We could go for Golden Age if we needed to, but it's just more stuff to unlock. And this has massively pushed the age progress now because I have finished this pathway. The age is much closer to being finished and the crisis has begun. Oh goodness, which one is it? Oh, it's the happiness one. This is not good. Okay, so either we can take happiness and settlements I did not found. I haven't taken anything over, so that's really good for me. Settlement cap, that would push me below, which means I'd have -5 on everything, or -6 happiness and settlements with unfilled resource slots. Oh, I actually have pretty much filled all of my resources at the moment. It's just this one town. Oh, okay, we've survived that really well. That's hilarious. Oh, I like that. We might just need to get ready to send another trader out as soon as possible in case we need more resources. More merchants, I say. More merchants every turn. There you go. Charlemagne is now at war with every single person. Such is the strength of all of the alliances we have here. I don't think Charlemagne is going to enjoy this war, but luckily he's on the other side of the continent to me. I don't mind. If this great person is going to create a Tao Te Ching, I don't know what this is, but it counts as a codex, whatever it is. 2 happiness. Oh, cool. All right, that's actually quite handy. I needed that. Brilliant. There is my last resource. I only need 2 wonders to get a couple of points. It is tempting. I've almost finished Colosseum. Is there any cheap wonder I can get in my capital right now? Oracle. It gives me culture every time I hit an event. It's pretty worth it. Let's see if we can rush this through. 7 turns. 2 codices. Puts me to 8. I just need an academy to be able to put more out. But look, I've saved up the gold, and with all of my actual gold resource, this academy is super cheap. I can get rid of this farm, place it down immediately. I think I'll do that. And then we'll reallocate the population and give ourselves another specialist with wonderful powers like this one that can give a bit of production. Amazing. Why is this city suddenly on -9 happiness? What happened here? Sometimes you just have to scratch your head and say, I don't know what's happening, but something is. All right, we'll deal with that in a second. We'll get there in a second. I guess the specialist actually didn't help there. Yeah, putting another specialist in reduced my happiness even further. All right, we'll keep an eye on that. Currency mastery and wheel mastery for 2 more codices. That should be the 2 I need to finish the science tree. Influence is not as useful as it used to be, so I'm going to take the +2 out and pop in 2 happiness in all settlements. Brilliant. And science from specialists. Here we go. Take away the food in all settlements. We're coming towards the end of the era now. Let's just switch over. 118 science now. Excellent. And now that we've finished the Chinese civic path, look, we could get a 3 attribute point. Diplomatic or scientific. I'm going to take scientific. Oh, I think this is starting to get to the good ones now. It is +1 science and settlements for each resource assigned to them. I know that I have 20. I know that I already have 20 because we've just won that pathway. That's awesome. Up to 140 science now, and we're on -14% yields in the city at the moment, so let's just work the other Kilimanjaro tile. That helps with the happiness a little bit. There we go. Colosseum will get rid of a lot of the unhappiness penalty, but that just gained us about 4 production. Oh, that's good. We really haven't done much of the civic tree though, have we? We really haven't. Let's get ethics. +1 culture from specialists. We probably should have got that a lot earlier, but never mind. More specialist yields. 151 science. We've actually taken the science lead now for the first time in the game. It took its time, didn't it? we had to work for that one. Another little settlement here. This is one thing about not having loyalty. People complained about loyalty when it was in Civ 6, but then this happens. Lots of little settlements just in the middle of all of my stuff. Why? Why? No, stop it. Is that another codex? I'm actually about to get the codex I need to win this path, right? So instead, what I'm going to do is pass along. Do I get the codex? I'm going to get the codex. Why not? We'll just keep getting them. There we go. The milestone is done. Ta-da! A full assortment, and we finished the second pathway. Oh, has there been a conquering? Oh, the renouncer, the person that's supposed to have given up war, has actually conquered something, I think. Oh, my lord, they have. That's 2 settlements that have been conquered from from Charlemagne. Oh, Charlemagne is not getting on with this war very well. That is unfortunate. And the crisis is now really pushing through. None of this is very good to me. 6 happiness penalty in towns or 6 happiness penalty in cities? My cities are already unhappy. My towns have got a bunch of happiness. So we're actually going to take the towns, which sounds ridiculous, but that's fine. Oh, there's so much negative happiness. I'm going to be really, really intrigued to see how much of this affects the AI, because it's squeezing me now. It really is. Another courtesy done. We need a 3rd city if we're going to display more, unbelievably. So we might as well rush to feature tech in order to get the wildcard attribute point. Let's do that. We can probably do this before the age ends. Well, big maybe anyway. And we're going to push towards organized military in order to get the extra settlement limit. Switch in my other specialist card. I don't need the influence now. Sorry, specialists. It's all about specialists. Oh, and this is a fun mechanic. Because I'm in a crisis and my city is unhappy, random buildings are going to start blowing up. In this case, my amphitheater has blown up and I have to fix it. So this is going to start costing me a bunch of money every turn until this city is happy. It's worth 16 culture. Oh man, I have to fix that one. That's ridiculous. And if I don't make the city happy, it will revolt in 9 turns. I could assign a commander there to increase the happiness. I'm actually going to do that. Let's bring my commander over. Just by sitting him in the city, that will help. Spare influence. So I'm going to start trying to steal tech and civic from Charlemagne. We haven't really seen much of this so far, but this is the espionage option. 100% chance, but it can be revealed. Spying is a lot more useful in this game than it has been before. And here's Colosseum. This actually fixes the happiness penalty in this city considerably. It's a very happy city now. And there's the second wonder, which means I get the early points. Just 2 wonders is all you need. You don't need to do more. You don't need to be rushing down to the bottom of every single pathway. Just that has given me a cultural attribute point and diplomatic attribute point. Ah, beautiful. Although if you're given the option for a 4-turn wonder, it is quite tempting. Alas, I would have to get rid of some of my Great Wall for it, so I'm not going to build it, but it is very tempting when you see something like that. I could rush to finish the age now, but I'm actually just letting it play out, because if we finish it with future tech, we get that attribute point, and that's a really handy thing. So I don't mind if the age takes a little longer. I was just having a peek at the happiness of the AI, and you can see Ashoka only has 5 happiness, and when you zoom in, there is a lot of fire and burning going on in his empire, which means his cities are currently trying to rebel. Is there a sweeter sight? I'm not sure there is. Oh, that's hilarious. I love it. You'd love to see it. You know, normally I wouldn't get too excited about 3 happiness in cities, but that will certainly help me. It'll help him as well, but it'll help me. Anything to keep these things happy. Iron working now? Almost there. An organized military for another settlement limit. I don't know where I want my last settlement to be. A lot of the space has now been taken. There is still the silver I could in theory settle. I think the AI is going to grab all of this stuff eventually and I can trade with it. Oh, I was going to say settling up here would be good, but it looks like that might be taken out of my hands as well. Maybe we'll save the settlement for exploration, eh? I'm being offered a settlement as part of a peace deal. That is hilarious. Which one is it? This one. I mean, it has Uluru, but it's so far away from my settlements, it would be totally unconnected. I'm gonna say no, but that is quite funny. They're also offering this, but no, I'm just gonna take the piece, but that is hilarious. If it was nearer to me, I'd be tempted. Activate on the palace to give 3 science to the building. It's a small benefit, but it's a benefit. Okay, I think these benefits aren't particularly good anymore, not considering the size of my empire. Let's just build other stuff for now. The crisis gets even worse. Oh, -10 happiness in my capital. Can I swallow that? I'm on 6. And we've got an arena finishing very soon. You know what? I think I actually can get away with that. The AI is going to really start struggling, though. Really start struggling. Yeah, you can see my ally is now on pretty much 0. At this point, this really is not needed at all. But am I building more Great Wall just because I absolutely love the sight of it? Yes. Yes, I am. Look at it. It's beautiful. Oh, it's so pointless, but here we are. I should have got citizenship way before. 25% extra food in towns is really big. I'm beginning to believe the more I play Deity, culture is very important compared to science. Science obviously unlocks a lot of fun buildings and really gives you momentum, but there is a huge amount that culture unlocks. Yeah, I knew they'd settle there. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Exploration is when we're going to have some fun. It's better to save some settlements for then. Wow, some people have gone really heavy. 8 settlements down here. You're not going to be able to keep those. Your happiness is going to be massively compromised. In fact, a settlement has now asked to join me me because the crisis has wiped out its happiness too much. It's Pedangala. Which one is that? Oh, it's here in the middle. Interesting. That is actually, oh, it connects up all of my settlements. You know what? Yeah, I'm grabbing it. Thank you. This happens. If you don't look after your stuff in a crisis, it jumps. Luckily for me, I've got the gold to fix it immediately. Welcome to my empire. Oh, it's so lovely. Oh, thank you. Thank you for joining me. Have a granary. I'm going to look after you really well, probably, until, you know, you start to want to disobey me and run away again. Okay, well, that's actually good. We've got 7 settlements now. Phew. Oh, we managed to steal a bunch of science from Charlemagne, 174. That's quite fun. Hey. Oh, interestingly, it counts as a conquered settlement for the purposes of military, the one that flipped to me. I love that. That's so funny. We also have a migrant. I'm not entirely sure what spawned this, but migrants are used to give a city or a settlement population. You have to use it on a rural tile, but it's just free population. It's awesome. I'm going to use it on my biggest city, and guess what? We're going to make our wall even bigger because I can, so we're just going to save up some gold for that. I have a real problem. Let's get future tech. I have a problem with walls. What can I say? I'm enjoying building them everywhere I can now. My new town is very, very unhappy, and it's going to revolt away from me. Well, luckily, I have my commander here, so he can sit in it and try and suppress it for a bit. This gives a huge amount of happiness, especially if you stack a bunch of units there. We'll see if this makes a difference. I'll bring another unit over just to make sure we've got full stacking going on. Food in towns, 25% extra. Yes. You may have noticed all of my towns I've taken off the specific focuses and I'm letting them grow just for a few turns at the end of the age. The more population I can get now, the more they're going to be able to do in exploration. I want to get future tech. My capital is now going to go into research initiative, which converts my production into more science. I was on 165. You can see what sort of impact that's going to make once you can see this lovely wonder being made. That one has given me a 3 attribute point. Yeah, it's another 20 science per turn. Not a huge difference, but it all helps. And this is going to be useful. 50% influence towards initiating and progressing the befriend independent action. That's very, very good for exploration. I'm glad we got that. Skill trades, extra coin. None of that matters. There's future tech, which has unlocked a bunch of stuff. It is repeatable, but we get a boost for starting tech in the next stage. We get 10 age progress, which is now finished the age, and we get a wild card attribute point, which I believe I'm going to put on this one. 1 science on specialists, or 2 if I have 3 or fewer cities. The other option I had was 1 food per age and warehouse buildings, but I think I'll get that later. Let's make my specialists even better. Just have a quick look at some of these tiles. My capital has 15.5, the tile next to it 14.5. That's 2 extra science on every specialist now. 17.5, 16.5. Oh my goodness. The next stage, we're going to start really appreciating that. Oh my goodness. My settlement is on the brink of revolt. It will leave next turn. I think we're going to end the age exactly the right point. Although I could, in theory, stop it from rebelling. There is a way. I would have to move my resources around though, so maybe not. Anyway, doesn't really matter what you do now. If there's anything you wanted to finish before the end, and this is your time, but ultimately it doesn't matter because that's it. Antiquity is now at an end. The game progresses forward on turn 131. Pretty quick, it seems standard for what I've seen in the Antiquity, to be honest. And here we go. My unlocks. 3 points in science, 1 in culture, 3 in economy, 1 in domination. We're only a single point ahead of this AI, 2 ahead of my other ally, and then the other 2 kind of fell away, but poor Charlemagne. Charlemagne tried. There's always going to be one that doesn't quite make the cut. And as we get ready for exploration, just a little sneak preview for the next episode. On this first game, I'm going to go through the historical pathway. We've unlocked Inca, we've unlocked Majapahit, we've unlocked Mongolia, and we've unlocked Xuanyi, but we will be going Ming China. One China to another. Economic, scientific, capable of building Forbidden City, and an improved Great Wall. Oh yes, this is going to be a glorious age of exploration. But that is all for next episode. Until then, I shall see you later. Goodbye. And finally, a very special shout out goes to Glorious Petra, Matthew Wilkinson, Paul Coffey, Portland, The Nickerman, Daddy Bear Todd, Toon General, Capoyobi Virani, The Uncivil Engineer, Lillian, Radiatore, Technology Poet, Poppy Dude, Clibben Thurders, Dayboy91, Mushkin Mandletort, Scott Stratton, Major King Kong, Skeptical Bear, Cinnamon Beard, Private Selection, Genoa Salami, Callum Billy, Garrett Gowan, El Truant, Creston, RB Hedged, Burial, I'm Daft, Gooberman, Dr. Bobby, Mixomatosis, NTG Golfman, Indigenous 68, Teddy's Ursa, Barnaby Rex, Charlie Bears, Flying Dutch Burbs, Nate the Great, Alex Frost, Mean Penguin, Interplanet Janet, Frankincense Battlezord, Bookaluk 79, Bob Loblaw, Geography Teacher, Juvara, Morax, Zinikush, Echo Bear, Deja Fu, Kovawoo, Legally Trash, Is This Live, Sword to Dutch, Rad Bickley, Shadow of Gaia, Flower Power Bear, Dan Jamo, Buster Blader, Bob Tway, Abstract Fun, Slither Alley, JP Genius. Thank you everyone for your support. Goodbye!